Hello students, in previous class we already discussed about simple microscope and compound microscope. Both are two same type of optical instruments that we use to get a clear view of a very small object. Today we are going to discuss about a telescope. So what is a telescope? Basically telescope is an optical instrument which is used to get a clear view of a very large distance object like the astronomical objects like sun, stars or moon. Any large and distant object we want to see by our eye, that's why we have to use a optical instrument which is known as a telescope. Okay, so telescope is basically an optical instrument which is used to get a clear view of a very distant object. Clear? So telescope, we are going to discuss about a telescope, that is astronomical telescope. It is used to get a clear view of a very distant and large object. Okay, so in astronomical telescope, same as that of compound microscope, it also have two convex lenses. One has a very large aperture and focal length, and the other one has a very small aperture and focal length in comparison to the other one. Okay, so as they are in compound microscope, there is two convex lenses. One is larger aperture and small larger aperture and larger focal length, and other one is small aperture and small focal length, and the one which is faced towards the object is known as objective, which is basically of small aperture and small focal length, and the one which faced the eye is known as eyepiece and have a large aperture and large focal length. But in case of telescope, it is reverse. That means the convex lens which have large aperture and large focal length is faced towards the object, which is known as objective, and the convex lens which have a comparatively small aperture and small focal length as to that of the object faced towards eye, so it known as eyepiece. So here it is eyepiece and this is known as objective. Okay, so this is the principal axis, and both these lenses are attached or combined in a common tube, and by a special arrangement the separation between both the lenses can be changes according to our wish. So as the object for this telescope is a very far object, so the light rays are generally coming parallel, as we have to assume that the object is as infinite, the light rays are coming parallel to itself. So after refraction through the objective, if this is the focal length of the objective, or like this, the rays will meet at the focal plane, and this will be the image, let it be A, B, and as the object at very large distance, so the angle made by the objective will be same as that of the angle made by the eyepiece, so let it be theta naught. Clear? And this object, image of the far object, will act as an object for the eyepiece, and we have to adjust this as the eyepiece have to adjust in such a way that the distance of the image which is formed by the objective will lie within its focal length. Let this will be the focal length of the eyepiece. This is the FE. So now the rays, if this is objective eyepiece, now the rays will goes like this. Here is the eye, and this is the angle theta, and this distance will be UE for the objective, and as the image formed by the objective will lie within the focal length of the eyepiece, so this is the object distance for the eyepiece, so its virtual image will form somewhere behind the image which is act as an virtual object a double dash b double dash, and this distance will be how much? VE. Clear? So for telescope, the object is at infinite or as a very large distance, so its image will be formed on the focal plane of the objective, and that image which is formed by the objective will lie within the focal length of the eyepiece. So its virtual, erect and enlarged image will form behind the image AB, which is act as an object for the eyepiece, and that will be A double dash B double dash. Clear? So here the image A double dash B double dash, which is actually the inverted image of the far object, will make an angle theta with the eye. So at this particular case, I can write what is the magnification of the objective, that will be theta naught, will be equal to how much? If this height is h divided by this distance will be how much? F naught, because the object will as at far distance, so its image will be formed on the focal plane of the objective, so we can write theta naught equal to how much? H by F naught. Let it be equation 1. Similarly, what is the value of theta? So for theta we can write theta equal to how much? H divided by UE, or theta equal to, if this is A double dash B double dash is taken as H dash, can be written as H dash divided by VE. So for simplification I am taking theta equal to H by UE. So this implies the magnification M will be how much? Theta divided by theta naught, which can be written as H by UE divided by H by F naught. So this implies you will get the magnification will be equal to H by UE into F naught by H. So HH will get cancelled, so this implies M equal to F naught by UE. There will be a negative sign. Why the negative sign? Because the negative sign is due to as the image is inverted in comparison to the object. That's why we are taking the negative sign here. So the magnification obtained by a telescope will be how much? F naught by UE. What is F naught? F naught is the focal length of the objective, and UE is the object distance with respect to the eyepiece. Clear? So if the arrangement is made of in such a way that the distance between the objective and eyepiece can be changed, so for getting the maximum magnification and minimum magnification we can switch the eyepiece position. So for normal adjustment we have to adjust the distance between the eyepiece and the objective in such a way that the image AB must lie on the focal length of the eyepiece, so that its final image will be obtained at the infinite, and as the final image will be obtained at infinite, the rays will be parallel to itself and it will reach to the retina of the eye easily, so that we can get the image of the object AB simply, or the eye will be in relaxed position. That's why for normal adjustment I can write this is the magnification for any general position UE. For normal adjustment I can write, for normal adjustment UE must be equal to how much? FE, because for normal adjustment the image formed by the objective must lie on the focal length of the eyepiece, so that its image will be formed at infinite, so the light rays can easily reach at the eye. That's why for normal adjustment UE must be equal to FE. So this implies you can have the magnification M equal to how much? Minus F naught by FE. This will be the magnification for normal adjustment, and this is the minimum magnification. Clear? And here the eye is in relaxed position. Clear? You have to remember this. This is the condition for normal adjustment. UE must be equal to FE, so the magnification will be F naught by FE. Negative symbol is indicated that the image is inverted in comparison to what? The object. Clear? So for maximum magnification, or what will be the condition when the final image will form at the least distance of distinct vision? So as for least distance of distinct vision, the final image must be formed at D. That means the value of VE. This is the value of VE. What is the distance of the image with respect to eyepiece. So this must be equal to d, or least distance of distinct vision, for maximum magnification power. So for maximum magnification power, VE equal to d. So by using sign convention for the eyepiece, we have UE is negative, FE is positive, and VE is equal to negative, that is minus d. So by solving this, we will get this image U minus UE equal to FE into d minus FE into d divided by d plus FE. By using proper sign convention, so this implies you will get how much? UE equal to FE into d divided by FE plus d. This will be the value of object position with respect to the eyepiece, so that we will get the final image at least distance of distinct vision, which will provide us the maximum magnification by telescope. So this implies at this condition, what is the magnification power? So the magnification will be f0 minus f0 by UE. So now this will become how much? M maximum equal to minus f0. In place of UE, I can write this much, FE into d by FE plus d. So it will be f0 divided by FE into d into FE plus d. So this can be written as minus f0 by FE. Taking d within the bracket, it will be 1 plus FE by d. So this is the expression for maximum magnification power for a telescope, when the final image is formed at the least distance of distinct vision and the image by the objective formed at a distance FE into d by FE plus d from the eyepiece. Clear? So you have to remember, as this is the maximum magnification in case of least distance of distinct vision, when the final image is formed at least distance of distinct vision, or VE equal to d, then this will be the maximum value of the magnification formed by a telescope, where f0 is the focal length of objective, FE equal to focal length of eyepiece, and d is the value of least distance of distinct vision. And for minimum magnification, that is in case of, and here the eye remain in stress position, because we have to stressfully use the eye to get the view of this image. Clear? And in normal position, we have the minimum magnification that we already derived, that is a minimum equal to how much? Minus f0 by FE. So you have to remember these two formulas for the magnification power of a telescope in case of normal adjustment and in case of image formed at least distance of distinct vision. And what is the length of the tube? The tube length, or the distance between eyepiece and objective. So in general, the tube length L will be equal to how much? Initially the object which is at far distance will form its image on the focal length, so U0 equal to F0, that is fixed. So the tube length will be F0 plus UE, because this distance is F0 and the eyepiece from the image formed by the objective, the distance is UE. So generally the length of the tube will be how much? L equal to F0 plus UE. In case of normal adjustment, the length of the tube will be how much? So for length of the tube, we can write length of the tube L equal to, for in general case, F0 plus UE. For normal adjustment, L equal to how much? F0 plus UE will become FE. For least distance of distinct vision setting, the length of the tube will be F0 plus, in place of UE, we will have how much for least distance of distinct vision? That will be D into FE divided by D plus FE. Clear? So this is the case for length of the tube in case of normal adjustment and for least distance of distinct vision, and in general this is the length. So you have to remember this expression for length of the tube. This is the maximum magnification power for a telescope, and this is the minimum magnification power, or in case of normal adjustment for a telescope. Clear? This is all about telescope. So it's a astronomical telescope which is used to get a clear view of a very distant object like any star, moon or planet. Okay, clear. And here the aperture of the objective is very large in comparison to the eyepiece. Okay, and this type of telescope is known as refracting type telescope. This is known as refracting type telescope because it is used the concept of refraction through a lens. But as the objective is made up of a very large aperture and a very large lens, so there is some drawback by using this type of telescope or the refracting type telescope. What are the drawbacks? As the objective is of a very large aperture and very large focal length, so there are basically two aberration observed in this type of telescopes, or we have to study about why the refracting type telescopes is not used or have some drawbacks. The drawbacks of refracting type telescope is the spherical aberration and chromatic aberration. So as the aperture and focal length of the objective is very large, due to large aperture and focal length of objective, the refracting type telescope has some drawbacks like spherical aberration and chromatic aberration. Okay, so what is spherical aberration and what is chromatic aberration? So spherical aberration means as the objective is made up of very large aperture, so the rays which are coming parallel to itself or parallel to principal axis, not all rays are remain paraxial. Some of them are also marginal. So as the rays are not paraxial, so after refraction they will not converge at a single point. They will converge at different points. That's why if like this, if this is a very large aperture lens, so the rays which are coming parallel to the principal axis will not converge at a single point. These rays are converging at here. There are some other rays which are converging at some other point. So as the rays are converging at different points, so the final image will not a single particular position. It will obtain in a different locations. That's why the final image will be blurred in nature. Clear? As the aperture is very large, not all the rays are remain paraxial. So the rays which are coming parallel to the principal axis after refraction will converge at different locations, due to which we will get a view of different images which combinedly form a blurred image. So we can able to get a distinct image of the object, which is known as spherical aberration. And this is happened due to the large size of lens. So due to large size of lens, the rays after refraction will not converge at a single point. That's why we are not able to get a distinct image of the object, which is known as spherical aberration. So due to spherical aberration, the image becomes blurred. Clear? That's why this is one of the drawback. We can't able to use the refractive type telescope to getting a clear view of the image. And next is chromatic aberration. So what is chromatic aberration? Clear? What is spherical aberration? Due to spherical aberration, we will get a blurred image of the object. So what is chromatic aberration next? So in case of chromatic aberration, as the objective is of a very large aperture, and we know a lens can also behave as a combination of prism. So if the objective is of very large aperture, so it can be made up of a large number of combination of prism like this. So each all are a prism. We already know that a lens or any two refracting surface which are inclined with each other can be act as a prism. So a very large aperture lens can also act as a combination of prism. So due to combination of prism, we already know by the concept of dispersion. The material used in a prism can deflect the different lights of the white light, have different refractive index of the same material. According to the Cauchy's formula, the material used in a prism can behave as in such a way that for the white light, for different constituent lights of the white light, it will behave as different refractive indexes, due to which each color of light will have different focal length. So as red have some different focal length, green have some different focal length. So when the white light pass through a large aperture lens, different color lights will converge at different points. Red will converge at certain point because this material have a certain focal length for the red light. Similarly, green color light will converge at some different point because the material will behave in such a way that the green color light have a different focal length. So different color light will converge at different positions, so we will get different location of the same image in different color. So the image will not clear, and also the image is in of different colorful formats, which is known as chromatic aberration. So due to large size of the aperture of the objective, the image will be blurred in nature due to spherical aberration, and again the color of the image will be different because due to chromatic aberration. Okay, so due to these two drawbacks of a large aperture objective, the refracting type telescope is not good to use to see distant object. That's why scientists developed another type of telescope, that is known as reflecting type telescope. Okay, so what is, you already understood what is spherical aberration and what is chromatic aberration. To avoid the spherical aberration and chromatic aberration, we have to use a reflecting type telescope. But there is another choice, we can decrease the aperture of the objective. To decrease the chromatic aberration and spherical aberration, we have a choice to decrease the aperture of the objective. But what will happen if we decrease the aperture of the objective? If we decrease the aperture of the objective, then the objective size will become less, its radius of curvature will become less, focal length will become less, so that the light incident on the objective will be less in number. So the intensity of the image form will not that much clear. That's why we can't decrease the size of the objective. That's why we have to use a reflecting type telescope. So what is reflecting type telescope? So in reflecting type telescope, the objective which is used as a lens in a refracting type telescope will be converted into a mirror in case of reflecting type telescope. So what is reflecting type telescope? Let's discuss. Okay, so let us now discuss about the reflecting type telescope. So in reflecting type telescope, the objective which is a large aperture convex lens in case of a refracting type telescope is replaced with a large concave mirror. Clear? So here the objective is a large concave mirror. That's why it's known as a reflecting type telescope. It is of two types. The first type of reflecting type telescope is Cassegrain type telescope. So what is Cassegrain type telescope? In case of Cassegrain type telescope, there is a large tube like this. One end of the tube is attached with a very large concave mirror, and a small part of the concave mirror is replaced, so that a small hole is created on the concave mirror. This is the concave mirror. This is known as objective. Okay, so the other end is open and it's faced towards the object which is at a very far distance. So the parallel rays, incident rays of light will comes like this from the astronomical object, and as they are parallel, to the concave mirror. So after reflection they will move towards what? The focus of the objective f(o). Okay, but in front of the focus of the objective there is a small convex mirror is placed, so that the reflected ray which are moving towards the focus will intercepted by this convex mirror. Okay, so again they will get reflected and they will move along this small hole, and there is a they will move like this along this small hole, and here the eyepiece is present, and through the eyepiece the final ray will reach at eye. So this is known as Cassegrain type telescope. In place of a very large objective lens, here we are using a very large objective which is a concave mirror. In front of its concave mirror there is a very small convex mirror, due to which the final rays or final image will obtained by the eye through the eyepiece. This is known as eyepiece. Okay, this is one type of reflecting type telescope. There is another type of reflecting type telescope, that is known as Newtonian type telescope. So in case of Newtonian type telescope, so there is another second type, that is Newtonian type telescope. So what is Newtonian type telescope? In case of Newtonian type telescope, same, there is a very large tube. One end of the tube is fixed with a large concave mirror. Okay, and in front of the concave mirror, in place of a convex mirror, in case of the Cassegrain type telescope, here there is a very small plane mirror which is inclined at an angle 45 degree to the axis of the tube. If this is the axis of the tube, then the plane mirror is inclined by an angle 45 degree. Okay, and as the incident rays are coming parallel to the principal axis of the concave mirror, after reflection the ray will move towards the focus and they will get reflected by this plane mirror and they will move along this direction. And here is a small opening through which there is a eyepiece is connected. And finally the rays are reach at the eye. So this is known as eyepiece and this is known as objective. Okay, so this is known as Newtonian type telescope, in which there is a very small plane mirror placed on the axis of the tube by making an angle 45 degree with the axis of the tube, on which the incident ray which is coming parallel to the principal axis of the large objective, which is a concave mirror, after reflection they will finally incident on the plane mirror and then finally they will reach at the eye through the eyepiece. So this type of telescope is also known as a reflecting type telescope, because here the process involved to form the final image of the object which is at a very large distance is reflection. Okay, and due to the reflection it is independent of the spherical aberration and chromatic aberration. That's why we are mostly used in reflecting type telescope instead of refracting type telescope. But still the reflecting type telescope are very large in size. That's why they are very difficult to handle, because the magnification power of the reflecting type telescope is defined as the focal length of objective by focal length of eyepiece. So as we know that the focal length is equal to radius of curvature divided by 2. So this implies the magnification power of reflecting type telescope can be written as R divided 2 into Fe. So as we increase the radius of curvature of the objective, let this will be radius of curvature of the objective R0. Okay, so as the radius of curvature of the objective will increase, the magnification power of the reflecting type telescope will increase. So for getting higher magnification we have to use a large size of objective mirror. That's why as we always want a clear image of the distance object, for that we have to use a very large mirror. So in large size mirror is too difficult to handle, that's why reflecting time telescopes are very difficult to handle. So this is all about your telescope, astronomical telescope, that is in form of refracting type telescope. What is the magnification in normal state, what is the magnification when the image is formed at the least distance of distant vision, what is the tube length, and what are the reflecting type telescope, and why reflecting type telescope is used over refracting type telescope, and what are the spherical aberration and chromatic aberration in case of refracting type telescope. Okay, this is all about your telescope, the third optical instrument we have studied in this lecture. Okay, thank you.